Welcome to Sip, Sell, Repeat, the real estate podcast for women who know success is best served with a great cup of coffee or a well-earned glass of wine. I'm Dr. Cynthia Tant, your go-to real estate expert, here to help you navigate the market with strategy, style, and a little bit of fun. Whether you're flipping your first property, scaling your portfolio, or just dreaming about your next big move, this is the place for you. So grab your drink of choice, settle in, and let's sip, sell, and repeat our way to success. Let's get started.
Welcome to Sip, Sell, Repeat in real estate. I'm Dr. Cynthia Tant here in Pensacola and Florida, and we have a real big difference in weather, I'm sure, between the Arizona and the Florida at this time of year in good old August. So I'm sure, Melissa, you don't have to worry about hurricanes coming up and doing anything like that, though, right?
Not at all.
Not at all.
We have a little bit of monsoons in the summer, so
Yeah.
we might get a little bit of dust storms with some rain, but that's about it.
And you're familiar with Florida, it appears, from talking to you a little bit with mom and everything. And how about letting the gals know that are listening to us today a little bit about yourself, what's been going on, and then we'll start getting into some specific questions about real estate. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Melissa.
I am an ASU alumni. Since you're a professor, it's good to have that college degree and educational background. My degree is in organizational leadership, so I literally have a degree in how to lead and train teams, and have a good opportunity to do that with the brokerage that I'm with now. I lead a team of 20 people as a Zillow team lead. And then I have a small team of just 3 people that produce with me.
That's great. Yes, I was a college professor of biomechanics. Has nothing to do with real estate or anything like that. Just started investing in real estate in the early 90s and did extremely well, enjoyed it, and got into the real estate more towards the brokerage and property management, B&Bs. It's been a crazy world in the past about 10, 15 years. But so Melissa, let me ask you a question. I learned a little bit about your background and what you've sold in the past 5 years. That's a ton of property and in the Arizona area. I think which area is it again? Mesa, is that correct?
I'm all over. I sell all over the valley, and then I do rural properties as well. So I sell in the outskirts as well if people need that. And I've done a few, like farmsteads where it's on acreage and it's got a house and it's on a well with a septic and solar, so that it's all self-sufficient, kind of off the grid type property. And so those are a lot of fun for me.
And so and getting into real estate, I understand you've had quite a diverse background getting into it. I definitely did too, but I did start on the investment route, which led me into real estate. And you say you're part of this leadership team. So as a woman getting into real estate now, I think our NAR statistics are still the average realtors at 55-year-old woman. I'm not quite sure why that has been like that for years.
I'm almost there.
Almost, I'm way past. But it's interesting on how we as women, communicate with each other, work with each other. I'm a big member of Women's Council of Realtors. I was a past president. So share with me a little bit about your leadership style and how not only women, because I know you have been in your team and everything like that, but what you feel in real estate right now, because how the market is, I don't know about yours, but ours is crazy.
It's hard right now, isn't it? It's just,
yes, it is.
And you've been in it for 30 years, so you can probably speak to it better than me, because I'm just going on 7 years now. But I think now it's a bigger challenge. And so you have to communicate to your team and provide them with feedback to stay motivated, because it's a challenge right now. I sent a note out to my team this morning to ask where everybody is. And I've got a few people on the fence. We have the numbers in our pipeline to make our numbers for the month, but buyers are just pickier than ever right now, aren't they?
They are definitely, and our sellers are having a problem with that and they're listing and trying to explain to them, this is not a seller's market. This, for us, it isn't. Yeah. I don't know about you. It's a buyer's market. And so you don't really have a lot of leverage here. unless someone really likes the location, your house. But if it's anything that's priced right, we're still selling. Now I'm in a vacation, yeah, I'm in a vacation resort area. So we have a lot of investors for the beach because right on the beach. And our prices are a lot lower than other places. So when people go, oh, you can buy a beach house for $1 million, yes, we can, which a lot of people would not be able to do that in their particular areas. But still that I don't know, that balance to that buyer coming in and offers 50,000 less than the seller thinks they should get. And then you're trying to talk to the seller like, yeah, that's about right. All right. So you're finding that too in your market.
Oh yeah, we are not in alignment in this market. What buyers think a house is worth and what they will pay is different from even the comparables. So we're seeing appraisals come in and we have houses and the value is there, but buyers are like, no, we're not paying that. You know, this house needs a new light bulb in the kitchen, in underneath the kitchen vent, right?
Yep.
It's the kitchen,
Yep.
the fan is not lighting up. And, you know, we want to pay substantially less. I had a gorgeous 3,000 square foot house on a third of an acre with a pool in the backyard in a premier community. And it went for $100,000 under what we initially listed it at. You know, that's a tough pill to swallow. But thank goodness they'd lived in it for several years and they had a ton of equity. So we're still seeing that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's it's just the mindset because we've been in the seller's market for so long. And just letting people know we are not going to be at 2% interest or 3% interest anymore. Don't think it's going there, even though people think it's not going down like that.
Yeah. Or maybe ever again, right? The right now, you know, me personally, I think it was a big economic failure to go down to 2% because they've created the stagnation that we have in the market now. Because you have people with equity that can move and they don't want to give up their 2% interest rate.
Absolutely. Well, the other thing too is because that interest rate was coming down so much, the prices were going so high because people could afford it. And then now we're stuck in houses that they paid. And so therefore, if they do need to move or they do need to sell, they're losing. I do have a couple that have lost the equity that they put in it just because they bought so high. That was kind of crazy.
I'm turning down. Yeah, I'm turning down more listings than I'm taking right now because they don't have enough equity or I don't think it's the right time for them to sell. And unless they really have to get out, it's not a good financial choice.
How do you get that concept that, because, you know, I'm a broker, so I have new agents. I'm a real good teacher of new agents. And then they decide they want to go to another company. I said, oh my God, here we go again, because I'm a teacher. Anyways, It's okay. I just let people go. It's okay. I don't worry about it. And so how do you get to that with that new agent to really let them know that they don't have to take everybody, that the you're interviewing that person to see if you even want to work with them versus them interviewing us to work with us.
Those are hard conversations right now, right? Like I'll have an agent come to me and say, hey, I've got somebody and they want to do a short sale. I don't do short sales because you have to go through the bank. They can take several months. You have to wait for approval and it's a lot longer of a process. And if your seller's not going to go to the bank and get the approval, you might be dead in the water anyway, right? Because they have to initiate the process. You can't do it on their behalf. And so those are just difficult conversations that we have to have with agents to say, hey, you know, maybe a short sale is not in your best interest right now because that's going to take a long time if the house isn't in perfect condition and they can't do any repairs because they don't have the funds to do that, right? Might not be something you want to take. If a house doesn't have enough equity to get your seller to break even with your commission, the buyer's agent commission and title fees, it might not be worth it. And, you know, we have to follow the big rules of thumb, right? 3 to 5 years is when we see equity increases. But because we had COVID 4 years ago and people were buying so high, we're starting to see homes that are 4 years old that don't have enough equity to sell. So those people are going to have to wait it out a little bit longer or take a loss. And I always feel like it's a punch in the gut if you're going to list a house and your sellers are going to take a loss.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, like you said, our conversations with either the seller or the buyer, they have to be to the point, where's your hurt button? Like if your seller, for example, says, well, I have to make this amount. I go, gonna happen, so.
Well, and aren't you finding that amount that they have to make is arbitrary? Where are they coming up with this number?
That's true. Thank you for that. Because they're coming up with this. I did have a young man. It was very interesting. So I'll make this a real quick story. He was set on this price. I said, it's not going to sell. It's not going to sell. 6 months later, he has to sell because of a family issue. And I said, well, he could not get over. He was going to lose money because he bought it at the top of the market. Then he goes and puts solar on the house, which I don't even want to get into that whole scenario because of the whole with that going on, especially here in Florida. They're just like everybody, oh, this is a great deal. My electric bill is only going to be $200 a month. I said, oh my God, let me explain this, but that's okay. So finally, because he had number of offers and he wouldn't take them. And I said, okay. So finally, at that 6 month part, when he had to make that decision, the woman who had offered him like 3 months earlier cash at a higher price than he had to accept when she came back. And he was just like, oh, well, I said, I told you, and he was a friend of mine. So it was like, I felt bad about it, but I said, it's kind of that conversation that you have with him and it sits and it sits and says, let's just take it off the market. Oh, we can't, we got to sell it now. No. So do you have any kind of words of wisdom or stories that you've come across recently that could help that person, maybe not from an investment standpoint, because I understand you've started a new group. It's a Femvestor, is that correct? Of teaching investors into the real estate market. Yeah, I've been doing that for a while. So let's switch a little bit to the investor part of it and how you've been doing that and working with people.
So my goal is to help more women become investors. So I don't know about you guys, because we have a lot of flippers here in Arizona. So you'll get those daily calls like, hey, you got any fixer-uppers, whatever it is, they're at you constantly. And it's always guys, right? It's always men's. We want to buy, we want your next project, we want to do this. And so I started Femvestor to teach women how to level the playing field and to build wealth through real estate. And now is a really great time because you and I were chatting about the low interest rates in 2021. The platform that they can utilize right now is to take their primary residence, make that a rental, because it's probably got some good rental income and the numbers shake out because their payment's low because they're at a 2% interest rate. And then they can use part of their equity or cash that they have saved up and go buy the next property. I like doing it the primary residence way, and I've helped a lot of families in the last 2 years, especially, to keep that primary residence and then go buy another primary residence. That payment stays low, that rate stays low, and then you just keep trading up. And then by the time you have, especially here in Arizona, if you get 3 to 5 in your portfolio, you could have $1.5 million for retirement.
Now, and the numbers don't lie. You present those numbers, and I agree. Most of I have one gal that acts as a hard money lender, but the rest I work with are all men, and that's okay. That's fine. They've done really well. They help everybody, and I've taken advantage of it. I go, oh, okay, well, we're going to do this hard money loan, blah 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 blah, and so I've been involved in. I think, well, I'm not a wholesaler. I don't like wholesaling. I will work with wholesalers every once in a while, but not very often because I'm going, you're not doing anything and I'm doing everything. And no, I'm not going to give you $5,000 or $10,000 for this. We're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's just my philosophy. If you're a wholesaler out
I
there,
agree.
you like doing it.
Nope. Yeah, I feel like that just a little bit about wholesalers. I think that when people are truly in trouble, they have a place and they fill a void. But for the average person, if they're going in and they're saying, oh, I want to wholesale this, they're just making money off of people's tragedy, right? Like people get in a bind and they're saying, oh, I can sell this house for you. And they're adding here, we're in Arizona. I've seen them make $30,000 to $80,000 on a deal where they just pad it. And we have fiduciary duty to our clients as real estate agents. I'd rather put that money in my seller's pocket.
No, I agree. There's a lot of advertising that goes out, and I have them all the time too. Coming, do you have anything? Do you have anything? I said, it's kind of crazy. Some of the questions they ask. Go, oh my gosh, someone. It's been pretty recent. They wants to retire here to Pensacola area. They go, yeah, we want to find a house near the beach that is like $100,000 so we can walk out on the beach. I said, you and me both. I said, if that came up, I would be buying it. So it's kind of the realistic types of things, because I have been an investor for quite some time. But also what I found, and I don't know and again, I've only worked with a couple ladies that have actually have met on travels and have invested, and then I've managed their properties, whether long distance property or long-term property management or B&B. And then, so I'm managing that. And so as I talk with more of my travels, but I have couple guys that I have given them great deals and they don't believe me. I said, then I'm not working with you. If you don't believe that I'm giving you the best advice I can, then, well, it doesn't match our numbers. I said, well, how do you know your numbers are good? That's kind of what I come up with.
Yeah.
I gave them one house. I said, this place right here will bring you $70,000 in B&B rental income right here. Now it's not what you would really say that you would want, maybe you personally, but it doesn't matter for you. It's for the person who's going to rent from you. And, but they get over well, I don't know if yeah. So I haven't talked to them in about 6 months, but sometimes it's like, I'll give you the advice, but I can't make you take it. So if you don't want to take it, there's no use in us keep going and round and round and round when I'm giving you the best advice I can. I even send them off to the guys. I go, okay, you go talk to the guys, and they'll come back. They said, yeah, we kind of figured it out. You told us. I enjoy the women investors, and like what you're doing is getting the investors and then giving that, because of the way we do communicate. And it takes a little bit longer, I found, with the ladies.
We're more analytic. Yep.
To try to absorb what you're doing. And I say, okay, if I would have waited 35 years ago when I came to Pensacola, I never bought a house before. I was in school all my whole life. I was a professor, or I was a graduate student. I was like in school my whole life. I did some coaching, never bought a house. So I get to Pensacola, buy a house, $60,000 house. And my brother comes here. And so we decide, well, we're going to start real estate investing. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't have a clue. We just had money. And so a realtor we were introduced to was a real estate investor. President here, a gal, very well known. She took us on the path of, okay, I can't afford it myself, or she could afford it, but she goes, here, I want you to buy this, 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 and this. Do not buy 10 properties in 3 months. That was utterly ridiculous. Okay, but that's what we did. And but she said, you need to do this, this, and in fact, I still own a couple of them, from that time period, because we got 2 duplexes and a triplex near the water for $65,000. Let's just say you would never do that now. You can't beat that now. No. And of course, they're all paid off and they're doing great. But I think trying to get that across to people that if you don't do it today and you wait 6 months, a year, we don't know what's going to happen, right? We don't know what's going to happen in the economy. We don't know what's going to happen with the mortgage rates. But, and you've probably experienced this too, there's the basics you follow by. And you teach those basics and you look for the best deal, I guess you would say. I don't like to say deal, transaction that fits what you want to do. So a 25-year-old that I'm working with right now has a long way to go versus someone who's in their 50s who's just getting started. So what are you finding with some of the investor people that you've been talking with then too?
So when we did our research, when I opened up my company, we found that women are more data driven and we're more analytical and we are less risk averse. So we want that deal that's going to bring in the income or that's got the good ROI or that maybe we're just breaking even on and we're going to be able to increase the rental amount minimally over time to now you're getting cash flow. It seems that when I work with male investors, they want the cash flow, and it's all cash flow, cash flow, cash flow immediately. The women look more at the long-term picture. My favorite success story is one of my clients came to me during COVID because I was selling a lot in a community where she had 2 or 3 properties. One was like a personal home, and then the other 2, they did like the Airbnb winter rental.
That was crazy.
Yeah, so nice here in Arizona. And we liquidated 7 properties for her, and that was only a part of her portfolio. And now she's retired and she's living off of that money that she made. She took it all to a financial planner, and we're still friends and chat about everything in life today, not just real estate. And she's one of my biggest fans.
No, I agree. Yeah. I think that sometimes I think that women do take a little bit longer to make a decision, at least the ones that I have been associated with. The guys just look at the numbers, period. We're going to do it. Let's take it. I've even had some people take a negative to start with because they're in a high income job. Doctors, I work with doctors who have no clue about real estate. They just got a lot of money that they're just blowing. So trying to say, okay, let's do this, and it may be a negative, or they want a beach house so their family can go during the off season here and make the money during the season. So things like that, looking at that kind of just enough to cover the taxes and the insurance and the maintenance and the property management. The rest of the time, we're going to be able to live in it without having to put out money, kind of that deal. So that's interesting. I know you guys don't have a beach. So what's your tourism, Scottsdale? Oh, let me see.
Oh, it's the winter. So people want to come here and get out of
hiking.
the snow.
Yeah. So
hiking. We have lakes. We have a river. Lots of outdoor activities. Baseball is here. We get spring training. So from October to April, we have a really busy travel season where people come here from all over the country. They want to get out of Michigan and Minnesota and Montana and Colorado even, and they come here and spend the winter.
Well, are you finding so you've got second home buyers, or you have retirees like we do too, right? So they're in a sense that, they want to get out of where they still, or where they're deciding they want to retire to. Yeah.
Yeah, we're really similar market to you guys in that aspect, that we've got the 55 and older communities and the active lifestyle. The only thing we're missing that's different, you guys have the beach and we don't.
Yeah, well, Gulf of Mexico, yeah. So, but the beach part, and that's and see, for us, like I'm from born in Daytona Beach, but lived down in Fort Myers, South Florida. It was always winter was our season, South Florida. Whereas here up in the Panhandle in Pensacola, summer is our season, because we actually do get a little chilly sometimes. When it drops below 50 here, we're freezing. But we find that and what's the word I want to use? Because we're a big military area too, we have a lot of transition. Yeah, because we have the Blue Angels they're here as their home base. Actually, they practice every Tuesday and Wednesday, so we get to go hear them in town here. And so with the Navy coming and going, then we, just across the Panhandle, there's the Air Force, there's the Marines, we have a lot of military in this area. So coming back in retirement, we have a lot of military people that come back to live in the area, because to raise their families and things, or after they've raised their families and come back. So it's not the beach is great. It's wonderful. But the stability for the area seems to come from a large military contingency here. And people, it's a pretty good place to raise your kids. It's still the Southern, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, Miss Betty, Miss Cindy. My mom's name is Betty. Hey, Miss Cindy, Aunt Cindy. I'm not even an aunt to anybody, but they think I am, So it's still the very Southern kind of hospitality. If you were going to, let's go back to real estate a little bit. If you were going to think about two or three steps for someone coming to you and says, I think I want to get in real estate. I think I want to get in real estate.
I think I want to do it.
What would be your advice to them?
Have income that can get you through for up to 3 years. So a job where you can make real estate your side hustle, because it takes 2 to 3 years to really develop your business and be earning consistently where you're paying all of your bills monthly through the deals that you're doing through real estate. So time is of the essence. Find a good mentor, someone
Yeah.
that will guide you and teach you the contracts, the inspection periods, everything that you need to know that will make you a savvy real estate agent, and believe in yourself, because it's
Oh,
rough sometimes. And
I,
you have to be strong-willed and know that you're going to do it or feel that it's coming. Even if you're making changes, like even with all the changes I've made over the last 7 years, every time I take a new step and I grow my business, it's nerve-wracking. So you have to have the ability to believe in yourself to be an entrepreneur, because you're working on your own and you don't have a boss and it's your business. And if you're not out there working it, it's not there.
I think that's excellent points, because I think what people don't realize is that you have to have that entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, you don't have a boss, and we can give you all the training. We can get you to classes. We can help you with the leads and stuff. But if you're not going to work every day and put the effort in every day, and sometimes more hours than you would in a job from 8 to 5, then this may not be the way to go. Even though, but you can make so much money, but you hustle, you work your butt off. And investing, you have the bird's eye front view from the front row seats, that's where you need to go. I really believe that, because I have done it and have gone on to own businesses and stuff like that throughout the years. But I think I had that foundation that I didn't know was my foundation in the beginning, but I had an excellent mentor, and she started me, and then I was am able to mentor other people too. I think that's how, if more people realize, is just not selling a house.
Yeah.
One of my best friends that I have met and made are from sales of houses and investing and stuff. And for a year, my very first sale I ever made, I was sitting at the front desk 30 something years ago, and Ben comes walking in with his checkbook. He says, "I'm buying a house today." 2 months ago, I was at Justin's wedding, and we've known each other this whole time, where there's been the kids and the grandkids, and they bought 5 or 7 houses with me, sold houses back and forth. Now the kids, and then the kids. And I think those relationships are very important in this industry.
Oh, relationship is everything. This whole business is about people. It's not about the house, it's about the people in the house.
So, how can people find out more about you, Melissa, and how to get in touch with you so that we can spread the word? And especially, I have a friend over in Phoenix, so I have to get out there and hang out and visit you sometime. I'm always traveling, so I'll look you up. But how can we get in touch with you if we want to get some more information, referrals, and also some more education, leadership, and to find out about your new business venture?
You can follow me on Instagram at the Melissa Bailey.
Okay, that'd be the best way to go.
Apparently, there's multiple Melissa Baileys out there. There's apparently a realtor Melissa Bailey in Florida. And
Okay.
when I left my first brokerage, she got all of my old emails and she wasn't very happy about it.
Oh,
They gave her the same email.
oh, really? I don't have a real common name, but I have 2 cousins that are also Cindy Tants. And so oh my God, you guys really seriously? And but that's not a real common name, so I don't have to worry about it across the country. And they're not in real estate. Goodness gracious, thank goodness. But so at the Melissa Bailey with Instagram. Okay.
Yeah. And
And
my website is
go ahead with your website.
So it's www.themelissabailey.com.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, I just want to let everybody to say thank you for, hanging out with us today. If you're available, we're going to be able to sip, sell, repeat real estate. Just go to that domain name. I think it's sipsellrepeat.com. I made it easy. And we're going to have Melissa's podcast up. Oh, let's see. I think it takes a couple weeks, and you'll get some information sent to you about all that. And then, you know what? I forgot. I have some swag for you. And since I left the office, I'll talk to you later about it, but I'll send it over to you. So I want to say thanks everybody for listening to us. And ladies, please contact us. I'm Cynthia Tant, and it's sipsellrepeat.com, or you can catch me. Oh my gosh, I don't even know all the places. Somebody else does that. I can't keep track of it all. Anyways, but thanks a lot for staying with us. And Melissa, hang on, and we'll talk a little bit after I say goodbye to everybody else. All right.
Thanks for having me.
That's a wrap on this episode of Sip, Sell, Repeat. If you loved what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another powerhouse woman in real estate. Got a topic you want me to cover? Send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep sipping, keep selling, and keep repeating that cycle of success. Cheers to you and your next big deal.